Hey everyone, welcome back to the next episode of Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Julia.
Mike?
And last week's hint was this quote: "Human beings are dangerous. If we're seen, we have to leave. My parents said so." So if none of you guessed what movie that is from, it is from...
Secret World of ARRIETTY.
And so this movie, I've only seen it 2 times so far.
I've seen a few.
And it's very I'm gonna come right out and say it. I don't like Hera or Hara, whatever her name is, the old caretaker of the house. I don't like her.
Yeah, I don't think no one likes her because she's just a nutcase.
And she tried to kidnap Arrietty's mom.
ARRIETTY, yeah.
So anyway, so it's about this little person. They're called borrowers. So they're like the size of like a human thumb almost, it seems, or a finger.
Or close to an action figure.
Yeah, they're not very big people.
But before we go on, if you haven't noticed what the borrowers are, it's like I said, the Secret World ARRIETTY is based on the borrower books. So if you want to go take a look at the borrower books, then and go see the movie and come back here.
It's basically they borrow things that people have forgotten or just stuff that they actually needed. So, like, Arrietty gets to go do her first borrowing with her father when the movie starts, and they needed to get sugar and tissue paper, and they can only take what they need. So, like, they go into a dollhouse, and she's like, "Why can't we live here?" And he's like, "Well, we can't live here because we only take what we need, and we can't have any of this." But, like, the dollhouse was specifically made for the borrowers, so if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's true. The main character, the boy,
Sean,
I get his grandfather and his mother believed in the borrowers, so his grandfather made that dollhouse for them so they can live. In one way, they were Sean and his grandfather. They just wanted to help. They didn't want to hurt them or anything.
Yeah, but unfortunately, from what Arrietty's parents said, is that when they are found, they are normally destroyed, or they're hurt, or they're killed, or whatever.
Or they have to leave.
Or they have to leave, yeah. So the whole movie was basically them trying to keep themselves hidden, but they were found out, and they had to leave.
Which, understandable, they had to.
Yeah. So, anyways, Arrietty forms a friendship with Sean, who is there. He's being taken care of by his aunt, I do believe. It might be his great aunt because she does seem a little older. But he calls her Aunt Jessica, and she's taking care of him because I guess both of his parents are in a divorce, and his mom is not around. I guess she had to go on a business trip, and he has a bad heart, and he had like an operation that he was getting ready to do for his heart, and that was the reason why he was at his aunt's house. Was she was taking care of him, and he
needed rest for the surgery and everything, so everything goes.
Yeah, and by the time that the movie ends, it was the day before his surgery was when Arrietty and her family actually left, and he gave her a sugar cube, which is what she dropped when she went on her first borrowing with her dad. She dropped the sugar cube that they had gotten. And he tried to give it back to her, and they wouldn't accept it because they didn't want, he wasn't supposed to know that she was there or that they were there. So he gave her one as a gift, and then her little hair clip, she gave that to him before she left.
Yep.
And then that other borrower that they met, the one that helped her father,
Spiller.
Yeah, there was definitely some sort of like.
I think she had a thing for him.
I think he had a thing for her.
Well, either way, sparked fly. Fly.
Yeah, because like her mom was like, "Hey, why don't you stay, for tea?" And he's like, "No, I must go." And he spoke in like very broken English. He was like almost like a caveman or something.
Yeah, maybe he's a wilder.
Yeah, and he was like, "No, I can't stay." And then Arrietty comes in. She's like, "No, I would like you to stay." And then he decided to stay. And then when she didn't hop into the teapot at the end, he kind of like followed her to make sure that she was okay. And he was going to shoot Sean until he realized that, hey, he's not going to hurt her. But the narration at the end does say that he never saw her again. But he did hear about a family down the road talking about how some of their stuff was going missing.
Yeah, and pretty much it, but we don't know if it was actually them. They could have been others, because they thought they were the only borrowers left in the world. But
no, they weren't sure if there were any left, but Spiller was there, so obviously there was at least one more. And then Spiller did say that there was, like, I think 2 or 3 more families, and that's where they were going, was to live with them and around them. Yeah. And, I mean, like, there was, like, if I'm going to come out and say it, if Arrietty was actually human, she would have ended up with Sean.
Yeah, it could be.
Like, there was definitely some, lingering feelings there. I mean, I may just be looking, into it too much, but to me it feels like that there were some lingering feelings there, and neither of them could really act on it because it would have never worked anyways, because he's a human being and she's a borrower.
Yeah, it would never work. And other stuff, I agree, and I do have to say, I do like how imaginative how they make the borrower's house, how it's not the dollhouse like their house they have.
Yeah, they have like a little house down in the basement that they live in.
I wouldn't say basement, it's more like underneath the house.
The crawl space, basically.
Yeah.
And there is a way for like Sean to access it, because there was like a little trap door that he could open. And basically, at one point, he opened up the trap door, took out their kitchen there, and put in the kitchen from the dollhouse. And that's how Hara actually, or Hera, I don't know, the old cuckoo woman, that's how she found out that they called it the little people. That's how they found out that the little people were there. And, she hired, like, exterminators to come out and, like, spray for them or catch them, or...
To catch them, pretty much.
Catch them, yeah. And, like, she ended up capturing Arrietty's mom. So then Sho had to help her rescue her mom. Yeah. And then it wasn't long after that they started to leave. Yeah. Or that they were going to leave. They were going to leave anyways by the time that Sean found out that they were there.
Yeah, and it's funny how, like, when they rescued Arrietty's mom, they disappeared real fast. And Hara was trying to prove she was right, because she was always been calling forgetful or crazy. That's why she kept doing it. But they were trying to show the house. It was all disassembled. I'm like, in my opinion, how the hell did they did that really fast?
I mean, they probably had a way of doing it. I'm sure that they have ways of
Like, I can understand, like, covering tracks, but...
I mean, I'm sure that they probably had a way
Yeah.
to have the house disassembled so quickly like that. Basically, what she did was she was like, yeah, I can prove that the little people are here. She opened up the trapdoor. Her house was destroyed. She's like, no, no, wait, wait. And she goes up to the bedroom, up to Sean's bedroom. And she's like, I'll prove it. And she's like, they stole the kitchen from the dollhouse. And she opens up the dollhouse and the kitchen's back the way that it was. Sean's in bed in his pajamas reading. And she's all like, well, I caught one of them. And then she goes down to show, to grab the jar that had Arrietta's mom in it. And she's already gone. Because they've already rescued her.
Gone.
So, she was really upset that they disappeared. But when she went down to get the jar, and it was Sean and his aunt up in the bedroom, and she goes, I smell some fresh herbs, and she grabs the little teapot that Arrietta's mom was using, and she opened it, and inside was a tea leaf. And she's like, oh, so there are little people. And he's like, yeah, they were here, but, they had to leave. And she's like, oh, that's a shame. She goes, but, my grandfather, or your grandfather and your mom, they were right. And she's like, I wish your mom was here for this and stuff like that. So, like, the borrowers definitely could have lived there happily.
But then again, how if you look at the example of how Hire was, it wouldn't. It's like it's pretty much the example of every movie you see. Like, they're like not bad people, but you got, like, say the ones who are crazy don't understand. They don't understand. They should know they're good, but yet their way of thinking is simple-minded. They think they're still evil. They can hurt people.
Yeah.
So that's the example why that maybe it's not a good idea to live in both worlds.
Yeah, like Arrietty had said that she didn't think that Sean was a bad person, and her dad is like, Arrietty, that's how some of our people have been killed. Because I guess in that house there used to be two other families, and one disappeared and the other one moved away. And I guess they're really, what's the word I'm looking for? They're really afraid that, the same thing would happen to them. And I guess in a way, like, it almost happened because Arrietty's mom did get kidnapped by Hara.
Cuckoo.
She was really cuckoo. I didn't like her. She looked like a toad.
In my opinion,
she looked like Dolores Umbridge.
to me, she kind of looked like one of those toads from Spirited Away.
Well, I mean, Dolores Umbridge is also based off of Toad. In the book, she's very Toad-like, so...
Well, nobody liked Umbridge anyway.
Yeah, no, I hated her.
She was a terrible character anyway.
She really was, but that's what made her great. Anyways, yeah, she kind of looked like a toad, and I really didn't like her from the very beginning. And when she smiled, it was very toad-like, too.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
It was really creepy. She was just...
creepier than the Jim Carrey's Grinch smile.
Man, I hate that movie, too.
Alright, well, off topic. Anyways, off topic, sorry.
Yeah, so, anyways, Sho, like I said, he did eventually, form a friendship with her and helped her and everything like that. But Hara was suspicious that he knew about the little people, or the borrowers. Like, every time he tried to, I think her first suspicion was when Arrietty came up to talk to him the first time to tell him to leave him alone. And, a raven tried to grab her. And the raven, like, flew into his screen on his window. And he saved her. But I'm not exactly sure why she got that suspicion.
Then I don't know. Maybe she just thought because how he keeps hiding his hands and stuff, And besides that, there was also, when he's on the hill talking to her, and he just sees how he's facing, he's like talking to someone. Then, then she saw the little fucking pot on the stairs, and, that little cook pot, and she put maybe two together. Then also, when she opened the closet, that also, brought, you get the point.
Well, she saw that, like, crowbar looking thing on the floor by the closet.
And that too.
And then she's like, how did this get here? And then she opened up the closet and she looked down and she saw the trap door. And then she opened up the trap door. And when she opened up the trap door, that's when she was like, well, what do we have here? She took off the roof and there was Arrietty's mom.
And also, like I said, she knew that Sean knew. After, taking Arrietty's mom, put it in the jar, she locked Sean in his room so he wouldn't try to do anything.
Yeah, so he couldn't get out. And so he did eventually get out. What they did was him and Arrietty climbed out of his window, went to the room next door. She had to climb into the room by herself, though, to unlock the window because the window was locked. And she unlocked the window. He went in, and they went downstairs, and Hara was very freaked out about how he was out of his room because she knows that she locked him in. And he's like, hey, Hara, it's like, I'm thirsty. Can you make me some hot milk? And she's like, oh, yeah, just give me a moment. And he was just trying to give Arrietty time to kind of, like, figure out where her mom was. But he saw Hara kind of, like, glare at the pantry. And then that's when he realized that, okay, she's in the pantry. So then he let Arrietty know so she could go in there and save her.
And, the whole thing, the exterminators come, they can't find anything. Hara goes nuts. They realize the real people were real. And, the family go, Sean and Arrietty says how brave they are. They're going to try to do something. And they sail. Arrietty and her family sails away, and that's pretty much it.
It was like a little stream, and Spiller helped them go down the stream to a new place, basically where there were other borrowers, because they weren't sure if they were the only ones left or not. Of course, I'm going to assume that Arrietty's father knew, because he did know Spiller. It seems like him and Spiller have worked together before.
Yeah, it could be anything, networking or whatever.
Yeah, and when we first meet Arrietty, though, she's getting chased by a cat.
And she did. She pretty much got into the thing underneath the house in the last minute, and
well, she was in a bush first.
Yeah.
And Sean went over to see what was going on, and he just kind of like saw a glimpse of her. So then when he saw her later on that night when they did the borrowing, he was like, oh, hey, it was you that I saw earlier. He's like, don't be afraid. I just want to be friends. And it took her a while before she actually did come around. But she was definitely more trusting than her parents were.
Pretty much, he was, and he was a good kid, so he... Mm-hmm. You can tell he wasn't bad, so pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's pretty much all we've, really got to discuss with this movie. The movie's only an hour and a half long.
So it's not very long. It's like a really short Studio Ghibli film. Because every time you watch one, they're 2 hours long, hour and 54 minutes long, and pretty much. And I think I give the movie a 8 out of 10. But
8 out of 10? Yeah, I agree with that score. Yeah, like, the movie, it's a good movie. It does seem a lot shorter than the others. But maybe that's just because it's based off of a book.
That too, but it's also, it felt a little fast too.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I didn't engage with the characters as much.
Yeah.
and it's like even with the dad, it's like, oh, we have to, but it doesn't explain why in detail. But then again,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, there was just a lot of I don't know, a lot to be desired, I guess. A lot that needed to be explained. And they really didn't explain it.
No.
So I mean, it is a good movie. It's just it's just a short one.
Yeah, if you're bored, got nothing to watch, maybe you got kids, you're teaching them to be nerds, put them in front of that, and they'll be fine.
Okay, so next week's hint.
All right, before I give the hint, this is going to be a two-parter hint. Because next week we're going to try something new. Okay? The first hint is I can do this all day. The second hint is some people can read War and Peace and come thinking it's a simple adventure story. Others read the ingredients of a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secret of the universe.
Okay, well, that's next week's hint. So, like and subscribe and leave comments below. If there's anything you want us to discuss, remember, leave that in the comments below. And we'll see about working it into our schedule.
And please subscribe. We're up to 10. We need to get up to 90 more subscribers.
90 more subscribers, and you get to see our faces, and we'll be in cosplay.
Yeah, don't forget I'm going to be dressed as a woman, so...
He'll be dressed up as Tsunade. So if you guys want to see that, get us those 90 subscribers.
Yeah. Better buy me a beer after this.
I'll think about it.
Oh, come on. You can't give one to a beautiful woman?
Okay, keep telling yourself that.
Okay, whatever. You keep telling yourself that.
Okay, bye guys.